And how the fuck I'm experiencing xenophobia when I'm not even from a different country?
These FBA conversations are just white supremacy and black skin.
Preach, brother, preach.
This is white supremacy. If you feel the need to not only separate yourselves from other black people, but put them beneath you to the point where you have an AI photo of you sitting on a throne as a true black American, you're just a white supremacist in black skin.
Talking about, oh, we're just FBA. We're just FBA. We're not African. What is that? What is that?
That's what you are. Instead of acknowledging that there are different ways to be black and there are different types of black people, you are trying to disqualify Africans and put yourself above them. And that is a product of how American society has treated black people. And black people who were born and raised in the hood and have been mistreated and othered and policed heavily, that has developed an insecurity within your brain that, that pushes you to want to put yourself above other people. Because
exactly, some African Americans, some are treating Africans and other black people like how white people treat them in their country.
We need to talk about the rise in black American nationalism and the black American nationalist to white supremacist pipeline. Yes, white supremacist. So firstly, we've seen the Jay Versace tweet that's been resurfacing, and in response, I've seen like quite a few black Americans make videos about that and say that you can always tell an African apart from an African American. Y'all are not like us, etc., etc.
Mind you, Jay Versace looks Nigerian.
And before I even get too deep into that, I really want to ask you guys, what is the purpose of making that distinction? Why are you guys fighting so hard to make this distinction in 2025? Don't tell me that is reparations, because that's a really stupid answer. And just to speak to that point, Africans are very diverse looking people. Yes, there are people you can look at them and tell they're African, just like you can look at some people and tell, oh, okay, that's a black American person. But if you go and get Africans who were born and raised in America or who moved to America at a very young age, you probably will not be able to tell. Most of you cannot, because people can't tell with me. It's literally not until you say something or until somebody sees your last name that they're like, oh. And that honestly kind of brings me to my second point of this whole thing of Africans are cosplaying black Americans. I don't really think you guys understand how silly you sound when you say this at times, but I think it really does speak to sometimes how black Americans, when it comes to this particular subject, some of y'all can be a little bit narrow-minded in your thinking, because what do you mean we're cosplaying? If you're born and raised in a country, you're gonna have the mannerisms of people in that country. Especially if you're raised in a country like America, where things are typically just straight segregated by race. Like, let's be real. So it's like, you're going to have and adopt the mannerisms of the people, in your community, which for a lot of people who are African but born in America, that's going to be black American people. Like, hello.
I just noticed something that the FBA, Foundational Black Americans, the ADOS, the African Descendants of Slavery, and the groups in South Africa perpetuating xenophobia, I believe they're called March on March, Operation Tadula. I noticed something that both of them have.
Mind you, the black South Africans do not have any of this energy for the white supremacy in their country. Nothing. They're just docile.
In common. South Africa experienced settler colonialism. A couple of other African countries also experienced this, but not on the scale South Africa did. And that is very similar to the experience that Black Americans experience in America. The experience of living with your oppressor and your body being used as the labor to build the country while still being regulated as a second-class citizen. Both categories share this allegiance to the land by either being indigenous to it or being there without their will and having to recreate their own experience and make the best of it. Both groups become very nationalistic and prideful of the strides that their people have made in said country, which is completely understandable. But the problem comes in when neither group decides to interrogate the system that brought them there in the first place. They both almost treat the colonizer as an inevitable variable in the equation. And immigrants or any outsider that comes in to compete with the already scarce resources that the colonizer is giving them becomes the enemy rather than the system and the colonizer. the colonizer that's hoarding the resources and has the ability to just give them more, mind you. They now start developing anti-immigration rhetoric, and the state, the government, the colonizers recognize this and allow them not into the club financially or socioeconomically or in any way that would benefit their material well-being, but through like flag association. They start inviting them to do interviews. Tucker Carlson talking about foundational Black Americans having a right to be mad at immigrants. They start inviting them into these conversations, start making them feel like they belong. South African politicians using xenophobic rhetoric to run their campaigns by agreeing that it's the migrants that are the reason why South Africans are suffering. There's so much harm going on. This now emboldens these groups to do the grunt work, the on-the-ground work for the colonizers. I'm definitely going to write a Substack article on this, but I'm noticing a connection between settler colonialism, minority groups, and xenophobia. There's something there, and I just can't prove it yet, but I will.
Also, I think living with your oppressor for too long makes you, think you are better than other Black people, like the house slaves saying, oh, I'm better because I live with Massa and all that. So that's just what is happening.
If you're African American, if you're Black American, whatever you want to be called, and you promote the FBA, hey, I'm Native American, I'm Indigenous American, if you promote that rhetoric, right, you are quite literally of the devil. Like, I promise you, I believe if the devil was real, if he was right here in front of me right now, he would be telling me, oh my God, you're better than them. You're not like those Black people, even though we quite literally come from them. Like, my ancestors they were slaves here, right? My people from Mississippi, right? Then they went to Ohio. My grandfather joined the military, and now we're here in Nashville. But like, I'm African American, you know what I'm saying? Like, born here, raised here, everything. But I know, like, quite literally, anthropology, empirical evidence, every single thing, every historian, everybody agrees. There's so much proof that my people came from West Africa, and they were there for tens of thousands of years, right? Like, my people built up this country. This country still hates me, right? I'm not finna ever go against my brothers and sisters in Africa to be on the white man's side. Like, people who promote FBA, Black conservatism, are quite literally perpetuating capitalist, white supremacist ideology, white supremacist rhetoric, right? That I'm better, that separatist, the sectarian belief system that comes with that FBA stuff is so weird. I promise you, it's the most counterproductive, the most reactionary stuff I've ever seen in my life. Like, I promise you, if the devil was real, he'd be right in front of me telling me to believe in what y'all believe in. It's so sad, man. Black people need to do better.
They said if we let Black people here operationally unite with Africans on the continent, we're done. And guess what else the memo said? It directed the FBI to sow discord between both groups, to spread a rumor. Basically, they told the FBI and the CIA to do between Black Africa and Black America what they did between the Black Panther Party and other organizations.
Yeah, right.
Destroy the unity, destroy the trust. And I wouldn't be surprised if we found out 20 years later, 10 years later, that this entire thing was a psych ops funded by the CIA or the FBI. I wouldn't be surprised. Right. And the reason I say that is these organizations didn't start popping up until the year of return, 2019, when Africa was inviting everybody home. And I'm saying to myself, at the very time Africa inviting everybody home, now we get people who say Africa don't matter no more. You see that? I'm just looking at the timing.
And you probably from an era where everything was pro-Black, like the native tongues, De La Soul, to go back to African movement, things of that nature. So it was changed.
So we need the dialogue, because at the end of the day, nobody can live without the other group. But the truth be told, is wrongdoing on both sides.
I like that.
We are just as guilty as they are, and they are just as guilty as we are. When I go to Africa, they ask me the same question. And I'm like, listen, are y'all engaging in the dialogue?